For if you're excited as I am, make sure to drop a like. We're just getting into the lobby now, getting ready to go, and it won't be too long whatsoever. Shouldn't be too long at all. Hopefully we can get in very soon. Fingers crossed. That isn't. So much time. Hopefully we can find our way into the lobby, which we can. Now getting myself in. So yeah, sorry for a bit of an unorganised start, guys. Not the best way to kick off the evening, but nonetheless we are in and ready to go, I believe. So welcome everyone to NRL, and tonight we seal off season 4, and this year's game cycle is done and dusted. Roll on 2021, but not just yet. We've got one final showdown to end off what has been such an exhilarating season. My first one in the league, joining back all the way in Bahrain. Sure, had Vert alongside me back then, but since then we have seen absolutely incredible racing and just some very memorable moments. You look back to Bahrain Short, what a season opener that was, and then throughout the season we've had such a competitive grid, but it was Kachal that sealed the deal. The constructors, the drivers champion was crowned last week in Sochi. Drove absolutely incredible all season long. His qualifying not always up to par, but comeback drives were his thing. Definitely something he's become known for, and a very well-deserved champion. Whether you can argue Honesy wasn't here for half of it is another thing, but nonetheless he's been the one to pick up the points and, well, put an end to what has been a very dominant run for Honesy. And we're here now to seal off season number 4. And again, as I said, this year's game cycle, but we'll be back in 2021. I'll be back in 2021 for, well, F1 at 2021. And yeah, hopefully we can seal off the deal right now with an incredible race here in Interlagos. Kachal is in fact the real deal. You have got that right. So we're here, short quali, 18 minutes. Different to the usual 18, different to the usual full qualifying that we have usually on show. Of course, Q1, Q2 and Q3. This time it's only Q1 which acts as all three. So 18 minutes shootout. You need to make sure you get yourself as high up on the grid as you can. No pressure on Kachal's part. He's going to be absolutely sending it down. Nothing to lose on his part. So something to celebrate. Maybe just give the fans something to watch. Mr. Wu first out on circuit on the medium compound tyre. Now Brazil isn't really renowned for its insane tyre deck, but definitely strategy can come into it, can play a factor. And well, we'll just have to wait and see what's got in store for us. But at the moment it's Mr. Wu out on his outlap, ready to go. And these yellow strap medium tyres, how well will he find them? Coming through the long turn 6 and 7 into 8. It's absolutely an incredible track. It really is. And there's already been a 5-place grid penalty handed out. There's been a collision with Vert further back. And I think they've driven each other off the track. Exotic's taken Vert off and handed himself a 5-place grid penalty. Not the best way to start off the night, must be said. But back on board with Mr. Wu. He's rounding the final couple of corners now. We'll ride on board with him for his first lap. And the first lap of the final qualifying session of the season. No better track to do it at than Interlagos. DRS Open as he approaches the line. Got to absolutely send it into turn 1. Looking for that 50 board on the right hand side. Just down the gears as quick as you can. Trail break it in. Third gear, second gear. Short shift up to try and get the best run through turn 2 as you can. Completely flat through turn 3. Just got to try and minimise the steering angle that you put in. DRS open down towards turn number 4. This is an incredible corner again. Look for that 50 just before 4th gear. Roll the car through. Build up the throttle and then completely flat through turn 6, up the hill towards turn 7 and 8. This almost flat right-hander, but you really want to brake and keep it tight to minimise the distance, and then into turn 8 you really just want to brake in a straight line down to second gear, shorten the run as much as you can through turn 9, a long off actually cambered left-hander. You can really roll the car through, build up the throttle. Turn 10 again, just got to roll it through, use the camber to get the car turned in. Turn 11 completely flat out if you get it perfect. Mr. Woot 52-0 to the middle sector, not bad at all, and now it's just a straight run to the line. A couple of kinks along the way, but DRS open as he approaches the line. What's it going to be to kick off this evening's qualifying session? It's looking pretty good. It's a 108.6, not at all a bad effort on those medium tyres. Got to give him credit for it. We'll go on board with Vengeance, who does go purple to the middle sector. 50.7, incredibly quick time through the middle sector. And now approaching the line, making the shortest run that you can. Kev a 106.9. Can Vengeance beat it? Not quite. 107.0. Purple to the middle and final sector. Couldn't quite hook up at the first sector, it seems. Stein, a man who's been on an absolute mission this season. He's really proven what he's worth in the AlphaTauri, giving us some incredible moments such as that in Hungary a few weeks ago. But let's see what he's made of around Interlagos. Tommy Lee into third place, very close at the top of the timesheets. Stein completely flat and then up the hill, got to be committed. Very committed. You can always tell that Stein is going to give us a show, and that is something he always does. Caught in a little bit of the dirty air from the Ferrari in front. Shouldn't hurt him too much, but still going to be less than ideal. And if he can pick up a lovely little tow, as Vengeance has decided to go for more of a conventional cut in the grass route, and making sure the track maintenance guys don't have to stay up all night cutting the grass. Taking a very nice esports-esque line is Stein there. Not quite purple to the middle sector, but that line is going to help him get a good launch, open up the angle of the corner as he runs the line. DRS open. Again, using every little tiny way that he can. Shortest run to the line just to minimise the distance, and it's a 103. It's a 107.130. Stein on an absolute mission tonight. It's third place. Still Kev setting the pace in the Alfa Romeo. No one quite able to beat him just yet. Not even the reigning champion of Cachao. Willands in the Red Bull on an outlap. Let's see what he can do. Jurdy as well as he approaches the line. What can he do? Is it fastest? No, it's only P5, but a 107.5 is all that he can do for the time being. Incredibly close though. The top 4 separated by just under a tenth or 0.2 of a second. So yeah, very nice stuff here. Willands, another driver that has been incredibly consistent all season long, had his moments and has been incredibly good. And through turn 3, let's see what he's made of. Mr. Woot and Stuart Little swapping position. Stuart Little and Mr. Woot, the only two still out on the medium tyre. Whether they'll swap is another story. Will 16.8 to the first sector, not the best, not the worst. Doesn't go purple, jumps that curb. That could actually unsettle the car a little bit too much. Might not be something you want to do, chucking it through. And trying to build up, but again, a bit of a mistake, bit of a snap of oversteer, bit of a lock up into turn 8, and yeah, wise decision from Will there to back out of that one, but he needs to get his head down and start working on it. Purple to the first sector goes the Mercedes of Exotic, who are trying to seal third place in the Constructors' Championship, and with Ferrari basically absent, could be very much easy for them to do. No Honesy tonight. And 2 standing drivers of AA Gaming and at PHE Vengeance stepping in. So the Mercedes boys need to make sure they can do everything in their power. Vengeance at the moment P2, Dominic P4. What can Exotic do to get his Mercedes up there? Rounds off the middle sector. 50.9. That's not bad. That's definitely up there with some of the top guys. Needs to make sure he gets such a good run off that corner, that final real corner, before you approach the straight. Again, shortest run to the line, use the camber, dip 2 wheels onto the runoff area. Shortest run to the line, it's P5, just behind his teammate. not at all a bad lap, and he's going to look to improve upon that as the session goes on, I'm sure. Domily already out on his second run, not waiting around at all. Let's see what he can do. Kev, the provisional pole sitter, out for his second lap. You can see he's using every extremity of the track that he possibly can. DRS open as he runs towards turn number 4. Is it an improvement to the first sector? Slightly down, but that can always be made up. It's only half a tenth, of course, and that can be made up in, well, probably one corner if he really nails it. Let's see what the master does at work. Down 2 gears, keeps it tight, and then runs the car out the track. And so that's what you really need to do through there. You don't want to send it in completely flat out and then just wash the car out. You've got to keep it under control, keep it tight, keep it under control, and he's showing us how he does that. Into turn 10, roll it through again, second gear, third gear, try and build up the throttle so you don't lose the traction on the exit. It is an improvement to the middle sector, but not enough to get him positive on the delta. Needs a good run coming off this corner. That is what he's got. Only needs 3 100ths of a second to improve upon his time. But then he comes into the pit lane, not confident that he would improve. What can Vengeance do? He is half a tenth up on his previous best time. At the moment, that's going to improve his time, but not going to quite put him in front unless he's really hooked up this final sector. Across the line, not quite, just off matching him, and you can see how close that is. Just under 2 100ths, just over 2 100ths of a second, but Domily puts in an absolute banger of a lap there to put it in to the 106.8. It's the first man to do so, but that's still less than a tenth off Kev. It's been so incredibly close, and that is just the NRL standard. Apologies. That is just that's what they do. They go that close in qualifying and just blow us away week in, week out. You can see how close it is. The top 5 separated by virtually nothing, and then even then back to Exotic and Stein, that they are just they're so close, and yeah, cannot fault these guys at all. Still got Kachow, Rugby and AA Gaming to set a lap time. Stein setting up his lap again, open up the corner, get a good run, launch off this corner, and he's setting up the lap, and he's probably a kilometre off actually starting his lap, and that's just how much you can gain from doing it. Takes a wide line, carries the speed, puts himself on that good line. Now starting his lap down towards turn 1. Look for that 50 board. He's absolutely nailed it. Rolls it through with the brakes. Keeps it in 4th gear. 5th gear to get the traction. And then through turn 3, completely flat out. Run the curb to make sure you minimize the steering angle needed. Carrying that speed. 200 miles an hour as he approaches turn 4. Half a tenth up on his previous best time. Chucks it in on 5th gear. Keeps the traction. Those high gears are allowing him to build up the throttle and build up that confidence quicker in towards turn 7. Just chucks it in, revs out 7th gear, down to 6th, does not think twice towards turn 8. 2nd gear, rolls it through, use that curb, turn 9, chuck it through, carry the speed on the camber. Kev pulling over to the left hand side to let him through. This is looking like a pretty good lap from Stein at the moment, currently around about 3 tenths off pole position, but what can he say about that as he approaches the middle sector? It's 1 tenth and purple for Stein. At the moment, that's going to put him on to the 2nd row. How much more can he find in this final sector? This final dart to the line. Going to pick up maybe a tiny bit of a tow from the car in front. That's going to help a little bit. Shortest run to the line. Where's it put him? It's still only P5 and 700ths of an improvement. He needs to find a little bit more inside himself. Kev on another lap as well, but we'll jump on board with AA Gaming. His first run, and he's coming into the pit lane. Kachow, what can he do as he sets to celebrate his championship? 50.8. So despite this being more of a write-off race for him, he's not doing at all bad. And on the dart to the line, completely fine. DRS open, drag reduction system to the left hand side, shortest run. Where is he going to put him? P6. Respectable effort from the Alfa Romeo for his first run. 6 minutes left of qualifying, not long at all. And he's going to want to improve upon that, maybe to get himself a little bit higher up. Jardy in the Williams, approaching the line now. What can he do? Shortest run to the line. Everyone doing that. Do not want to open the car up. It's a 2/10 improvement, but still only P8, 107.333. Just look how close it is, guys. That is... There's nothing separating them, and probably the biggest gap is actually between Domily and Atom, and that's just over a 1/10 of a second. And that's just wow. You don't expect that from a bunch of sim races, but they've given it to us, and NRL always deliver when it comes to an intense qualifying. Can't leave anything on the table as Vengeance finds that extra 1,000th of a second through Sector 1 and really towing along is that tiny dust bike behind. No, it's not. It's the other Renault of Mr. Woot towing in behind, giving him a nice little slipstream. Punching the hole through the air. Through turn 9. Vengeance on a pretty good lap here. Stepping in at a four-time champion is no easy task at all, but definitely knows how to hit the ground running in that Ferrari, and then through the long turn 11 completely flat out, try and hook the curb up, maybe 2/10 and purple. Vengeance is on an absolute belter of a lap here. Final dart to the line. 180, 185, 190 DRS. He's climbing towards 200, even where you want to run a little bit more high downforce, and it is a 106.7. What a lap from Vengeance to put himself on a provisional pole position. Domily is going to be looking at that with astonishment. Only 9/100ths of a second separating them, though. It is still all... well, everyone's still in it, isn't they? Tiny dust bike across the line is an improvement, not quite enough of an improvement to topple Atom Kev at this point in time. We've got Will setting a lap, trying to get himself further up inside the top 10, and it's not an improvement to the first sector, unfortunately for him. AA Gaming is going to get a nice little slipstream from his teammate in front, and where can AA Gaming put his Ferrari? His teammate is on pole position. He's certainly going to want to be up there. Trying his best down the gears, second gear, roll it through, hook that curb up, run it out, flat out. Of course, A Gaming definitely a quick driver. We've seen from other CCR network leagues that he does know how to drive a car around a circuit. Purple to the middle sector has proved that, and a lovely tow from his teammate. He's going to slingshot him towards the line. And where is this lap going to put him? It's not been too bad at all. P10 inside the top 10, not bad. And a 107.4 is only good enough for 10th, whereas the pole position time is only around about, what is that, 7/10 quicker. So very fine margins as we approach the latter stages of this qualifying session. Time dust bike pulling himself into the pit lane. Atom Kev looking to improve upon his time. 2/10 would see him on a provisional pole. Of course, he did hold at that provisional pole. There's 400ths in the bank already to the first sector. Nails turn number 4. Pleasure to have everyone in the stream. Absolutely nailed that, did Atom Kev, chucking it through. Down 2 gears, get that rotation, bring it back, use the curb to try and straight line it. Brake is pretty much as soon as you're in a straight line for turn number 8. And then into turn 9, roll it through again. And this has been a pretty good lap until... massive tank slapper, and a very easy mistake to do there from the Alfa Romeo might cost him a chance at pole. Unless he saves up the ERS on this final stage. Yeah, he'd have lost a lot of time from that. Interesting to know. I'm not sure how much he was up, but he did look to have had a tidy lap, and this is probably going to be his final chance if he wants to go for pole. He's coming in. It's going to be pretty touch and go. He needs to get in and get out if he wants to get another lap in. Domily coming for his final dash. The Mercedes less than a 10th off pole position. And it's going to be a tight run between these guys. They need to get out, they need to get going, and I'd say anyone within the top 6 has a chance. Domily is the first to have a go. What can he do? Can he go for pole position in the Mercedes for the season finale? Chucking it in to turn 1. Got to be as committed as you can. Nothing to lose at this point. This is your final lap. Absolute full send into every corner. DRS open as he hurdles towards turn number 4. How much of an improvement to the first sector? Half a 10th. Not bad at all. Purple with a 15 something. I didn't quite see it, in fact, but he hurdles up the hill. Only 4/100ths would see him on provisional pole, and he knows that. He knows he doesn't need to maybe sacrifice having a bit of a slide, just bring it home. But again, you want to smash it out of the ballpark. If you're going to get pole, you want to get pole by as much as you can, just to feel that little bit more safety in case everyone else improves upon their time. Tommy Lee giving it everything, going to get a toe from his teammate, and that has ruined his chances. Luckily for him, he's got the time to go for another run, but those tyres might be a little bit too dead to go for that other run, and that is a shame. And his own teammate as well, that just puts salt into the wound. He's putting himself into the pit lane, and it's P2 at best for Tommy Lee, and that definitely could have been pole. They're going to be having words at the Mercedes debrief, let's say that much. Tiny Darspike heading for pole, currently 2/10 off. Atom Kev heading for it as well. Vengeance starting his final lap. 25 seconds until the checkered flag. Everyone needs to get out there. It's a busy track. Let's see what Vengeance can do. Looking to defend at pole. Kachau gets himself into the top 3. A 106.9. That's all he can do. Purple to the final sector, but that's not a bad effort at all. Atom Kev, the other Alfa Romeo at the moment. It's an Alfa Romeo second row. Atom Kev is going to want to change that, get himself onto the front row. Checker flag is out. Tommy Lee is the only one who's not going to participate in the latter stage of qualifying after being held up by his teammate Stein on the lap as well. What can he do? I'm going to be interested. Tiny Darspike as well, rounding the final corner. How much has he improved by? There's yellow flags pretty much everywhere. Tiny Darspike then DRS open, run to the line. What's it going to be? Can he improve upon his time? Get himself up the order, and it's P2 and he's on the front row. The Renault, another incredible performance in qualifying. Atom Kev, what can he do? Tiny Darspike has knocked Tommy Lee off the front row, and only by less than 3/100ths of a second. Vengeance coming into the pit lane. He feels maybe safe. Stein can only go P4. Atom Kev is probably the only one that can do it now, and he's half a tenth down coming into the final corner. Vengeance might have this. AA Gaming goes into 7th place. Jerdy as well, yet to complete the lap. I think Vengeance might have this in the bag. Atom Kev on the run to the line, comes into the pit lane very, very late and very, very sideways. But what can Jerdy do? He's going to cut some grass, so it looks as though it is Vengeance. A very anticlimactic end to qualifying, with half of the grid not able to set a quick lap in on that final lap. But Vengeance takes pole. Tiny Darspike rounds off the second row, of the first row, in P2. Dominic and Stein on the second row. Two very good efforts from them two. Dominic definitely could have had a shot at pole, and that is a shame that we couldn't quite see what lap time that could have done. So, yeah, it's going to be a close race. Qualifying was extremely close. And 36 laps of that, yes please. That would be very, very good. So yeah, what a qualifying session that was, and look how little is in it. Tiny Darspike, half a tenth off pole position. Dommy Lee, only less than a tenth off pole position. It is what could have, should have, would have been had he not been held up by his teammate. Nonetheless, after qualifying, it is Vengeance that takes pole position for Ferrari. Tiny Darspike in the Renault joins him on the front row with Dommy Lee in P3. Stein in P4 with Kachau P5. Atom Kev P6 with AA Gaming rounding it off for the Germans in the top 10. Exotic in P8 with Jerdy and Will rounding off the top 10. Stuart Little P11. Mr. Woot P12. Rugby Danny in P13 with No Limits P14. And Vert rounding off the grid in P15. 1 second covers the entire field, and less than a tenth covering the entire top 3. I have to say, there's been a wild ride for this qualifying session. Incredibly close. Less than 2 tenths covers the top 6. So yeah, you have to give these guys credit. They do their job. They do it well. It is dry skies ahead of the race. No rain is going to mix things up like it has done in real life in the past. Watch out for Ka-Chow on this formation lap. Not long now until we get underway for the season finale. 36 laps of Interlagos, 50% race. Strategy, safety cars, everything can be thrown into the mix. Just waiting for everyone to get readied up and ready to go. Can we just talk about for a moment how well Ka-Chow has done this entire season? He's been on it, he's been consistent, he's been flying, and yeah, no man deserves the championship more than him. It must be said, this season has given Honesy a run for his money when he has shown up and just been class of the field. Yes, qualifying maybe hasn't been the best for him, he's been knocked out in Q1 a couple of times, but mistakes are natural, they come with everything. And what's important is where you score the points, and that is on the Sunday in the race. And he's always delivered, never put a foot wrong when it comes to that, and has taken numerous race wins this season. Started all with Bahrain Short, where he gave us an absolute banger, an absolute astonishing welcome to the league, it must be said. 7 people now joining us for the race start. Season 4 finale, NRL. The final race of F1 2021, and we go green for the formation lap. And yeah, built that up a little bit. Nonetheless, we get ready to go, and all eyes on the champion at the moment. Pulling off flat out through turn 2, and he's an absolute madman, is Ka-Chow. No, of course he knows what he's doing. Vengeance leads them round. Have a quick little look at the tyres. Everyone on softs apart from a few. Here we go then. Cannot wait for this race to get underway. It's a short run towards turn 1. And the champion pulling off. Celebratory donuts for his championship. And while his tyres are going to be absolutely cooked, he doesn't care. Nothing to lose. And there he goes, spinning off. Didn't get a chance to do it in Sochi, so he's doing it now. Disqualified from the session, but I don't think he cares. He did some celebratory donuts, and we caught it on stream. Nothing more. Vengeance though, shooting off, and Tiny Darkspike really backing the grid up. None of them want to be the first one to line up on the grid. They all want to back up, all want to weave around, make sure that Vengeance is going to be on some freezing cold tyres heading towards turn 1, which is less than ideal certainly, and Tiny Darkspike going to have a big advantage as everyone now starts to line up. The adrenaline is going to start to be pumping. Vengeance, Darkspike, Domi, Stein, Ka-Chow, Atom, who's going to come out on top? Any of those top 6 definitely can. It's a short run towards turn 1. Only a couple of 100 meters or so, and it does cut back on itself. Season 4, we've had ups, we've had downs, we've had bangers, but it all comes down to this. The championship is sealed, but they're all racing for glory here in Interlagos. They're ready to go. We go to 5 red lights. The Brazilian Grand Prix, the finale of NRL Season 4 is underway, and it's a great start from the Renault as they come towards turn 1. Tiny Darkspike trying to pull alongside Vengeance, but he's under pressure from Domi on the outside, who's going to send it, and it's going to be the inside for turn 2. He's going to keep his nose in. Vengeance leads from Tiny Darkspike. Domi having to settle in for P3, but with overtake with Slipstream. They're going to hurdle the way towards turn 4, and it's another braking zone, another opportunity to overtake. Dominique going to try it, journey further back, and the McLaren up the inside. Stuart Little trying to make a good start. They run off the track. Stein not with the best of starts. He's under pressure from Adam Kev, but managed to hang on for the moment. But a good start from Stuart Little. AA Gaming coming right back at him though into turn 7, going to send it, but the hard tyres just about going to hang on as they run side by side. Kachow not with the best of starts after starting on some cold tyres, but he's hanging on up the inside of turn number 8. Rugby Danny around the outside though. What a move from the Williams driver to keep that P8 position. Kachow trying to hang it there. He's going to dart to the inside. Bit of contact with AA Gaming. He's going to invite Kachow back up the inside, and they're going to run side by side still through this flat out left-hander of turn 11. But I think Kachow just had to concede on that particular occasion, back to the front, or with AA Gaming, who knows. But already the top 6, or the top 5 have broken free. It's Atom Kev, Stein, Domilee, Darkspike and Vengeance that lead the way. Vengeance leads lap 1. Domilee is not letting Tiny Darkspike breathe for one moment though, is he? He's going to be relentless. Tiny Darkspike needs to put the pressure on early. Otherwise Vengeance going to run off into the distance. They all need to stay with each other until the DRS gets enabled. Kachow managed to get through on the Williams, but now his tyres are warmed up. He's raring to go, and he's on a mission back up the field. Let's see what he can do. 35 laps remain in this race. It's not over just yet, even though Tiny Darkspike just losing the DRS maybe to Vengeance. But everyone so far has kept it clean. AA Gaming struggling to keep the pace inside the top 6. Stuart Little is keeping him honest on those hard compound tyres. You have to respect him for it. Domilee still putting pressure. Vengeance broken free though, definitely doing the High School Musical and breaking free. Nonetheless, in the slipstream is Domilee. He's using his overtake, but he's going to have the drag reduction system enabled as they cross the line to start lap 3. And that's what he's going to be waiting for. Vengeance sets the fastest lap, setting the pace early on. 109.8 at the moment. Vengeance going for that Grand Slam. Pole, fastest lap, win and led every lap. Can he do it? Who knows? But nonetheless, this is the fight for P number 2. Domilee closing on the Renault, but not quite close enough to go for the move. Doesn't want to expend any energy that he doesn't need to. Stein as well lurking in the background. Doesn't want to get tripped up and start losing time. And I think they're going to work together here, Domilee and Tiny Darkspike, just to etch inside the DRS range of Vengeance. That's what they could do. Just get inside, get the tow hook in, and then you can start to reel him in bit by bit as Kachow gets past Stuart Little. Stuart Little keeping him on the outside, but Kachow back up the inside. The McLaren trying it. Gonna have to tuck in though. Kachow being sent wide by the contact, but he's kept his foot in. Fair play to him. Stuart Little on these hard tyres, absolutely no match for the champion on the soft compound tyre. Definitely all kicking on at the backside. Exotic trying to get himself into the points, help out his teammate. Of course, not the best. We'll go up to the front where Domilee might be making a move. Tiny Darkspike defends, so Domilee goes to the left-hand side as they come towards turn 1, and he's going to try it around the outside as he did on lap 1. Again, the inside for turn 2. It's going to be the outside for turn 3. The Renault hangs on, but Domilee is going to try and do the switcheroo, get the better exit, have the inside. He sets himself up nicely for turn 4, but he's just going to have to tuck in. Darts to the inside though for turn 4. Under brakes. Who's going to brake latest? It's going to be the Renault, but he goes in a bit too deep. The Mercedes looks back up the inside of turn 5, but not quite going to happen on this particular occasion. And the Renault hangs on, but all this fighting, they're losing time to those behind and the person in front of them. Stein being reeled right back into this fight for the podium now, looking for the inside and looking for a way through. Don't count Atom Kev out either. Set the pace early on in qualifying, and certainly given these guys a run for their money. 4-car train for P2 at the moment. P1 is a very distant ambition, because Vengeance has just been on it since lap 1. Oh, and that is a spin. That's Domilee round, and he collected someone very, very close to doing so, but he is round and did get a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Atom Kev. Luckily for Atom Kev, he's just about managed to stay within this one, but that's a lot of pressure alleviated from Tiny Darkspike. Domilee, yeah, he's bottled it on this occasion, and could be losing a lot of time with the damage that he has sustained. But promotes Stein into the podium places and might be looking to get himself up one more and into P2 in the AlphaTauri, where Pierre Gasly and the same team finished P2 here in 2019. He's going to be looking to replicate that success if he can. Of course, back then they were known as Toro Rosso since AlphaTauri. To turn 8. So close. And he's just got to save his ERS. Stein has been one to do that. Vert has retired from the session. I believe that is coming up towards that. And that is a safety car coming up the hill towards turn 7. And a safety car has been brought out. Who's going to pit? This is going to bunch the grid right back up. Bring Domily back into this fight. Because remember, he is still in P5. So he's not a million miles away. But he has got a 5-second penalty. Who's coming into the pit lane then? Is it going to be Vengeance? Vengeance stays out. Darspike's in. Stein's in. Kev is in. Is Domily coming in? Surely he's got damage. He's staying out. He's coming in. He's coming in. Lag. Yeah, he's coming in. AA Gaming though stays out. A lot of people coming in. Very split strategies here. So under safety car, of course, they have to be collected by the safety car. So it is at the moment a Ferrari 1-2. Who'd have thought? The previous fighters for the race leader found themselves a little bit further down. Domily going on to the soft compound tyres there. Looking for a charge up the field. Kachow, of course, down in P12, but he did pit as well. Will find himself right behind Domily. Atom, Kev, Stein and Tiny Darspike are those that need to get through the field. Stein gone for the mediums. Again, it was split on whether or not to come in or not. And it's even more split when it comes to what tyres choose. Some went for the hards, some went for the mediums, some went to the softs. Running their way through. Those hard tyres are going to be extremely hard to keep in that temperature window, but they are going to go a long way in this race. Vengeance, I don't know. He might be able to come in under green flags, but I don't understand that, because the more he stays behind the safety car, it's an interesting one. But I'm sure if anyone can do it, it is Vengeance that can, because he just seems to be in such control, especially for that first period of the race when we were green flags. Safety car is coming in this lap though, so Vengeance controls the pace. Can back up his teammate as much as he likes, can back the field up as much as he likes. And once the safety car light goes off, he's got between then and the timeline to go for it. And we're back under green flag racing, backing it up. Safety car is now into the pit lane. He's got full jurisdiction as to when to punch it. When do we go green? We are back under green flag racing, and it's go, go, go. Stuart Little with a pretty good start. Already putting pressure on AA Gaming. Now coming towards turn 1. There is Tiny Darspike trying to get through. He sends it around the outside. Stein looking to get involved as well. Further back. GT no limits though. And that is a spin. And that is Mr. Wu off. Oh no. Stein threads the needle through 3 cars up into P3. What an absolute move from the AlphaTauri. Just thread the needle, put the car where he needed to. Up the inside goes the Williams of Rugby. And it's all kicking off back here. Domily trying to make up some positions as well on these soft tyres, these new soft tyres. But what a start from Stein. Gets himself up into P3 already. And around the outside goes Domely. Needs to get this move done to stay in contention and make sure those softs last as long as he can. Up the inside, the Williams giving him a good run for his money on the right-hand side, though. They run towards turn 10, and he spun him out, and Domely is having an absolute nightmare. They crash into the other AlphaTauri, and Rugby, I don't know what he was thinking there. I think he's just about managed to get away with continuing, but Dominique is going to be absolutely furious. Exotic sends it up the inside, forces him off the road. Fair play from the Mercedes to do that to the person that put his teammate out of the race, it must be said. But yellow flags reset the 2 and 3. Exotic putting the pressure on Jerdy, who is weaving around maybe to say let's go catch or something. But yeah, what a restart from Stein. Yellow flag still 3 sector 2 and 3. Rugby has retired from this session, and I would say rightfully so. Full course yellow, but it's no VSC. It's not a full course safety car either. Mr. Woot is coming back at him after being spun out on the restart up the inside of No Limits, who may have damage. We don't actually know. Atom Kev sending it back up the inside, being caught up on this restart. You can tell those the likes of Kachow, Stein and Tiny Darkspike have all made the most of this safety car, but those that were fighting at the front have been caught up, and maybe that pit stop isn't helping them. But we've lost Will as well from this session, and down to just a measly 12 runners in this race. Domely now putting the pressure on the AlphaTauri, looking to the inside. No damage sustained, luckily, to that Mercedes, so he's still definitely in this fight, and he's definitely in this race. But he needs to start picking him off quickly. Down the inside of the AlphaTauri he goes. Threads the needle, gets it done. And now it's focus. DRS has been enabled already 3 laps in. On to lap 10. Stein closing in on AA Gaming. The Ferrari in front, and he wants that P2. He was fighting for it in the first stint. He's going to go for it now instead of the Renault, though. It is the Ferrari. Those medium tyres doing absolute wonders for him at the moment. Well within DRS range, just needs to make sure he conserves as much ERS as he can. Jerdy on the back of Kachow. Not a lot in the way of ERS for the Williams driver to use, though. Kachow needs to get his head in the game, though. Start chasing after that Renault in front. Jerdy needs to help him do that as best he can. Kachow uses that line we've seen a lot of drivers do, and you can see how much he can gain from it on the exit. He just shoots off into the distance, and it's only with slipstream and ERS that that Exotic can catch back up, or Jerdy can catch back up. But here comes Stein to the right hand side, around the outside of turn 1. AA Gaming fights it all the way, but the AlphaTauri claims that P2. The Ferrari could come right back at him, though. He's practically pushing him through turn 3. He might have DRS to use, indeed he does, and he's going to come right back at the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri defends the Ferrari to the right hand side. There's contact between the two, but I think Stein is just about going to hang on to this one as the Ferrari sent off deep as well. AA Gaming now having to settle for 3rd place, and Stein used up pretty much all of his ERS. So good stuff from Stein. He needs to now set his sights on the other Ferrari. Now sandwiched between the two Ferraris is the AlphaTauri. A little bit more distance than actually being completely sandwiched, but he's now chasing after him 2 seconds adrift, and has already made his pit stop. Might have to come in for another one though, who knows. Exotic trying to put the pressure on Kachow as Jerdy did get back through. But Kachow is relentless. He'll try his best to stay with him as best he can. Again, 71% ERS. He's conserving, he's chilling. He's not really pushing at this stage in the race. Towards turn 4. Kachow on these hards. Again, knows that Jerdy is going to be quicker than him at this stage, so doesn't want to risk breaking a front wing or something. We know the Williams have been a little bit dodgy so far. Nothing against Jerdy, but his teammate not given a good name at all. We know how good Kachow is in the race. He knows how to keep himself composed. He knows what he's doing. He's saving the ERS, keeping it banked up. He can use it all at one quick press of the button. Doesn't want to leave it too late though, because look at the train he's got queuing up behind him of Exotic, Mr. Wu and Domily tailing off the back end of that for P10. So Kachow needs to get through. Exotic wants to get through. Pit window open for the soft tyres, so expect the Ferrari to be coming in very, very shortly. Big lockup from Kachow as he comes through turn number 1. Domily trying to get past his teammate, maybe into turn 4, think better of it. For the two Mercedes, our team order is going to come into play. Kachow, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings being issued there by the stewards. So he needs to cut it out, stay on the track. That's definitely the fastest way round. But Exotic putting the pressure on. Kachow staying with Jurdy, and he's got a lot more in the way of ERS to use and utilise. Kachow might be under pressure, but here comes Dominy to the right hand side of his teammate. The two Mercedes going to run side by side into turn 1. Who's going to concede? Looks as though Exotic gave that up to his teammate. But that left him susceptible. Mr. Wu's going to come out. Exotic looks to the inside, sends it up the inside of turn 4, and that was always going to happen. That was inevitable. You don't brake hard enough for turn 4 to make moves like that. He gave it a good effort, and luckily neither of them are majorly damaged in this race. But still certainly less than ideal, as Stein starting to reel in Vengeance as his tyres start to go off at the front. And Stein is looking good in this race, but so is Vengeance. Two Titans, Tyrants. Absolute rapid, and what a move from Domily. Sends it around the outside, keeps his foot in around turn 11. And that is something you don't often see. He was tucked right in at the apex and then just pulled out on the exit and kept his foot in. And put it around the outside. Domily on an absolute charge despite being spun out 2 times in this race already. And he's now chasing after Jurdy. Exotic maybe putting the pressure on Kachow, who of course has nothing to lose in the way of the title, but he'd love to do well for the final race of the season, I'm sure. Bit of a shake from the alpha male as well, coming off for turn 4. Domily, you can see now putting the pressure on for P6 and that Mercedes. Remember, he's been spun out twice in this race. Kept his composure, kept it clean, and he is still on a charge. He's tucked up right behind, looking to get himself back into the top 6, and even then the top 5, only 2 seconds up the road. Strategy could hinder him in this one, but pure pace is something he is well and truly in control of, and what he is doing a very good job of. Here he comes. Not a lot of ERS, but he darts to the inside. The Williams tries to defend, but the Mercedes finds the gap up the inside of turn 1, and the Williams is going to try and fight it, but it's useless because Domily finds a way through, and into the top 6 he comes. But the Williams, he's got DRS, he's going to try and come right back at him. Both of them running on absolutely nothing in the way of ERS, and a swap at the front end of the grid between Tyne Darspike and Stuart Little. Tyne Darspike into the top 4, setting his sights on the podium once again, as Stein is into the DRS range of Vengeance, who surely is going to be coming in sometime soon. Maybe he's stretching those tyres long, going for the mediums. That would be a good, that would be an interesting prospect as they come in to the final corner, or what is the final proper corner, you must say. But Stein is charging. He wants this lead of the race. Is Vengeance going to come into the pit lane though? Indeed he is. Vengeance in. Stein takes the lead of the race. Is A Gaming going to follow him in? No, he's going to stay out another lap. Tiny Dark Spike, Stuart Little, who's going to come in on this lap? No one else. It's just Vengeance. Will he have clean air? I believe he will have clean air. He's by himself. He can push on those medium tyres. If you can do 17 on the softs, you can do 17. Or, well, just over 19 on the softs, on the medium. Sorry. Dominique now closing in on the fight for the provisional podium. And is now in within DRS range of the provisional podium. Starting in right behind Stuart Little, and Tiny Dark Spike only a little bit up. And then AA Gaming not even that much further up himself. So it is very close here, but AA Gaming is going to be crawling around on those soft compound tyres. I'm going to guess he's coming into the pits this lap, but Stein still leads the way, setting some blistering pace. It could be close between those two. AA Gaming into the pit lane. So Dominique up a position at 4-3. Needs to start conserving a bit of ERS though if he wants any chance in this race. But at the moment his pure pace can't be disputed. These soft tyres working absolute wonders for the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo for the Mercedes. For the Mercedes. Dominique absolutely flying. The hard tyres working well for the Alfa Romeo of Kachal further back. Looking to the right hand side of Jurdy. Going to try and get the switcheroo. ERS up the hill, pulls to the left hand side. Then Williams tries it on the inside, but Kachal swoops around the outside. Williams tries it, but Kachal, and that is why he is champion, ladies and gentlemen. Dominique trying to get himself onto the podium, at least provisionally. It's a long way of this race to go as we approach halfway. Into the final couple, into the final proper corner of turn 12. Gets a good launch using all the ERS he has saved up to try and get through. Stuart Little's got a lot more to utilise though. DRS, is it enough for Dominique? He can brake a lot later than that hard compound tyre in front of him. Can he go for it? Maybe around the outside. Looks for it. Contact to the rear diffuser of the McLaren, and I think he was just looking for the gap on the right hand side, couldn't quite find it. No damage done as Vengeance sets the fastest lap on his fresh medium tyres and on an absolute charge further back. Only 5 seconds off the nearest car, and he is a pit stop in front. He might want to get through pretty soon though. Those soft tyres not going to be feeling the best. He is certainly still driving as if they are brand spanking new. Through turn 11, and Kachal is starting to reel these guys back in on those hard tyres. Again, fresher than the majority of the people in front of him, and they might start being quicker than those softs, but Dominique is driving them very, very well. DRS open as he peels into the pit lane. And we're going to guess medium tyres to the end of the race. And with the pace he's shown this race, don't count him out for a podium place just yet, because he has been absolutely flying. Where's Vengeance come out? Here he is. Dominique now exiting the pit lane. So yeah, he's quite far back on Vengeance, but... And in fact, AA Gaming as well might in fact actually jump AA Gaming. Of course, it's a shorter run. I don't think he's going to get him. He's a lot closer. He could be in a shout with this in front of GT No Limits. Remember that 3-second penalty for exceeding track limits is something he's going to have to contend with. But at least he's there to put up a fight. Vengeance still flying, reeling in the guys in front. Big lock up into turn 10 though. It's not going to help his tyres, but goes to show how much he's pushing. Or as Kachal said, how bad he is at braking. But for the purposes of dramatic effect, we'll say he's pushing it very, very hard. And it wasn't in fact a mistake. it does look as though he is pushing very hard, because he set fastest lap after fastest lap. Now gets past Mr. Woot as they peel themselves into the pit lane. Domely, another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings has been sent his way. Vengeance reeling the guys in front of him in. Exotic now with Kachal. Closest battle on track between the Alpha and the Mercedes. Stuart Little in the McLaren is keeping the Renault honest, and I'll be honest, I did expect him to blitz off, but the McLaren doing an incredible job to stay within the DRS range. And 2 seconds back, Kachal and Exotic fighting it out, but Kachal does enough through that final corner, just gets a good enough exit, manages to keep it, and he's got the ERS to just blitz away down the straight if he needs to, so he's doing exactly what he needs to sustain himself in P4 for the time being. Domily looking to get past AA Gaming for P8. And Jody looking to get past the AlphaTauri as well further back. He's joined by Mr. Woot. This could be a move on the horizon down towards turn number 1. Domily goes fastest. Here comes Jody looking for the inside. Gets the inside. The hard tyres, absolutely no contest for those fresh medium tyres on the Williams. And the Renault, I believe, of Mr. Wu gets through as well on the outside. Nice teamwork between those two, and I think Mr. Wu wants to make it 2 in 2. Now coming to attack the Williams. Down the inside goes the Renault. The Williams on the outside keeps him there, forces him out, but I think the Renault is going to claim this one as Domily gets through on AA Gaming, and AA Gaming has actually been pushed wide there, coming off a turn 7 into 8. Not sure if there was perhaps contact or something. Maybe Domily forced his way through. Not too sure, but Domily's through nonetheless. And Stuart Little, in fact, has reeled in a tiny Dark Spike by quite a substantial amount. I'll be honest, Vengeance hasn't blown me away with his pace on those medium tyres, whether he's saving or what. I think Stein could be in a good shout with this. Down the gears. Stuart Little putting the pressure on Tiny Dark Spike, and interesting to note when Stein will pit. I'm going to guess he's going to go for the softs to the end of the race from here to blitz towards the end. Who knows what might be thrown his way, but yeah, Stein is looking really, really good in the race. Qualifying is a strong point for Stein, but the race is just even better. He just doesn't put a foot wrong. Puts the strategy to perfection, and well, while it's not sealed the deal yet, he's very much in control of this race, especially seeing as though Vengeance can't find himself catching the 16 lap old hard tyres in front of him. Who knows what the future of this race holds. 24 of 36, 2/3 of the way through this Grand Prix, the finale. Exotic trying to find a way through on Kachal. This is a battle that's been, well, laps upon laps in the making. Exotic just can't find it in himself to close up. There's yellow flags to the first sector. That is in fact Domily gone for a spin and damage to his front left end plate. And he's going to be tumbling down the order, and that is a shame for Domily in the finale. He was looking good. He's been spun out twice, and that was a mistake of his own doing there, it must be said, which is certainly a shame, but no one else to blame but himself. As he peels off and lets Shirley through, he's going to be holding his head in his hands with that one, but luckily Exotic flying the flags as Stein into the pit lane, so all eyes on him. In fact, all eyes on Stuart Little as he looks to get past Tiny Dark Spike back up the inside despite his hard tyres being significantly older. Blitzes past with DRS, takes the racing line, and in he goes. Stein onto the soft compound tyres. Where is Vengeance though? There he is, now passing through turn 1. It's going to be very close. Tiny Darkspike trying to get through. This is a fight for the race lead between these two. A provisional race lead, but a race lead nonetheless. Here comes Tiny Darkspike pulling back to the inside. It's kicking off further back between Kachao, Atomkev and Exotic. Atomkev has managed to get through because Exotic took too long getting through. And Kachao was a roadblock for long enough. Yellow flags reset to 3. Domily retired from the session. Stein 3.5 seconds off Vengeance, but he's on softs and he's going to be absolutely rapid for the remainder of this Grand Prix. Vengeance needs to close the gap to Exotic, Atomkev and Kachao in front, but this could get very spicy at the front for the final 11 laps or so as GT No Limit gets the fastest lap of 109.0 for the AlphaTauri. Not bad at all, as he picks himself up a 3-second penalty straight after for multiple warnings. As that is Stuart Little into the pit lane again for softs to the end of the race. I'm going to presume how much has Stein gained on Vengeance this lap. Around about 4-5 tenths or so. Needs to just reel him in slowly but surely, not wear out his tyres too much. But again, not go too slow as to not catch up. Those soft tyres are going to be fast, but for how long? This could be a very dramatic finish to this Grand Prix. 10.5 laps of it remain. And Stein is starting to reel in Vengeance, who has seemed in control all the way through. And the 4 in front of him should be significantly slower, but he's not quite able to reel him in just yet. He's slowly done it, but not significantly. And he's almost under that 1 second range, and then he'll get DRS. And it should be a much easier time for the Ferrari to get his way back through. 4 places between himself and the race lead that he seemed to have such a tight control over. And Stein, another 4 tenths in the middle sector, another 5 tenths in the middle sector. He is on a charge, and after Vengeance, it could be very close between those two. Exotic into the pit lane, and 5 seconds added on to his race time for speeding in the pit lane. So Stein up to 5th, Vengeance into 4th, and the 3 in front of them, I'm going to guess, are having to pit. So it's probably going to be Vengeance and Stein to the end of the race, I'm going to presume. Atomkev looking to get past his teammate. Equal peggings when it comes to tyre compound. So no team orders should be in place here in Alfa Romeo. Tiny Darkspike leads the way, but for how long? And how long will his tyres last? Surely can't go the rest of the distance. I mean, we've seen it happen. If you've got nothing to lose, go for it. It might work out. Who knows? Mr. Wu looking to get past Exotic after he comes out of the pit lane, but that's going to be a fight that he doesn't want to fight. As Stuart Little looks to get past AA Gaming, who's not had the best of races. Stein nearly into the sub 2 second range of Vengeance as well. So it's getting very, very, very tight. At the front, between Atomkev, Kachao and Tiny Darkspike, they are closing the gap. Stein under 2 seconds and closing on Vengeance now on lap 28 of 36. Only a matter of time, surely. Stuart Little coming at AA Gaming to the top 6. Pulls to the right hand side. It's going to be the outside for turn 1, but with the aid of DRS, he is ahead before turn 1, and AA Gaming tries to send it up the inside as late as he can on the brakes, but the McLaren, with that momentum, keeps his foot in around the outside and just manages to crawl his way into the top 6, but AA Gaming is not going to let him rest. He has got the DRS as he comes towards turn 4. He's going to look to the inside. Back up the inside does the Ferrari. But he's going to have to cut the curb to not run into the side of the McLaren. Picks himself up a 3 second time penalty back to the front between Atomkev, Kachao and Tiny Darkspike. Stein closing on Vengeance at a rate of knots. Vengeance slowly starting to creep towards the DRS range. But it could get very spicy. A very spicy 5-way fight for the race lead indeed it could be. As Stein very close to the DRS of Vengeance. Tantalizingly close. The gap between Vengeance and the top 3 is the same gap between himself and Stein. And there goes Atomkev. He makes contact with his teammate though, and a bit of a mistake from Tiny Darkspike could allow Kachao to have a bit of a run. DRS enabled? Is overtake enabled? No, it's not. He's just going to use the natural closing speed. Doesn't need any ERS just yet, as Stein is trying to creep himself into the DRS range. Is he going to get it through turn 4? He's going to get one step closer. Tiny Dust Bike has relentless pressure from behind, and I think these three are just going to try and stick it out, as Stein and Vengeance are now within DRS range of this fight. This is a 5-way fight for the race lead with 7 laps to go. It's Dustbite that leads the way. Atomkev putting pressure on his teammate through turn 11. They round off at the podium with Vengeance and Stein very, very close behind. Stein should be on an absolute mission, and so should Vengeance. He needs to get through as quick as he can. Stein in control when it comes to the ERS fight, though it must be said. Here comes Atomkev. He's trying to put the pressure on his teammate. Pulls to the right-hand side. Doesn't know where to go. Doesn't quite get the move done into turn 1. But all eyes on Stein. And they're pretty much bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper this top 5. Stuart Little with the fastest lap. DRS open. The Ferrari's coming at the Alfa Romeo in front. Doesn't have a lot in the way of ERS to use, though. And just look how close they are. They are pushing each other through these corners as if it's nothing. But Stein, he's going to put the pressure on. He pulls to the inside. What a move this is. He uses that extra grip down the inside of turn number 7. Gets it done. And seals the deal. The Ferrari down to 5th, and he's looking to eye up the Alfa Romeo, something the Ferrari couldn't do. He's got the ERS to use it, and he's got the soft compound tyres to use as well. 10 people join us for the race. And the finale of the finale. Stein on a charge, needs to negotiate his way through 3 more cars to find himself in the race lead and then keep it clean, but Vengeance is not going to let him breathe. Needs to save some ERS while he's behind. Maybe use Stein as someone to cut him through the field. But here comes Stein. Activate and overtake before the DRS. Get that momentum early. And here he comes on the Alfa Romeo. Doesn't know where to go. Tries to look for the space on the inside. In the slipstream of Kachow. Atomkev tries to go for it on his teammate. But he's going to get boxed in. Stein around the outside. Inside for turn 2. Claims that position. And that opens the door for the Ferrari of Vengeance. That's exactly what I said would happen. And Vengeance gets himself into the top 4 once again. And here comes Stein trying to close on Kachow. Vengeance needs to stay within touching distance of Stein for when his tyres drop off. And it's so incredibly crucial that this happens. Tiny Dustbike trying to drive his own way out in front and just take a leisurely stroll towards the end of this race. Hopefully no pressure, and Kachow might be doing him some favours keeping these 2 absolute aliens behind. But what a way for the reigning champion to seal off the season finale if he can do it with a podium. Stein very late under brakes, nearly into the back of the Alfa Romeo. It is Dustbike, Kachow, Stein and Vengeance probably the best ones in the running for this fight for the race lead, but Tiny Dustbike extending the lead. Here comes Stein to the right hand side, blitzes past the Alfa Romeo before the corner. The Alfa Romeo using everything left in his tank to defend, but here comes the Ferrari looking to get past. He needs to get past, but Kachow hangs on. And Stein up into P2. He's been unleashed. He's got clear air. 1.6 seconds between him and the race lead. Lap 32 or 36. It's all been boiling down to this. Vengeance trying to get through on Kachow and get himself to seal the podium. But he's been in such control of this race. But Stein has just played the strategy to absolute perfection. Vengeance just couldn't get through where it counted. Whereas Stein could use that tyre grip, use the ERS, use his natural ability to get through. And he's now within touch and distance of the race lead. A race lead that he has so thoroughly deserved, it must be said. Vengeance is eyeing up Kachow. Pretty equal when it comes to ERS, sort of. Both got enough to use to defend or attack. Stein is within DRS range of Tiny Dustbike, but will he be able to go for the move? Here comes Vengeance to the right hand side of Kachow. Is Kachow going to fight this one too harshly? Doesn't look like he is. He's still going to keep it on the inside. Backs out of that one, and Vengeance up into the top 3. Stein, though, within touch and distance of the Renault. Vengeance needs to hope that Tiny Dustbike defends for his life. Here comes Stein. He's got 22% ERS compared to Tiny Dustbike, who's got less than 10. Output's going to be significantly less, and Vengeance now needs to use this time, this middle sector, while Stein is held up, to crawl back in to that DRS range. and just hope that Stein doesn't go for an audacious send. Lap 33, 36. We're well and truly into the final stages of this Grand Prix, and that is exactly what Vengeance is doing. As I said a couple of corners ago, he's managed to get himself back into the DRS range of Stein because he's being held up by the Renault, and it's so crucial that Vengeance hooks up these corners if he wants any chance of this race victory. Even P2, remember, Tiny Darkspike has got a penalty, and that will see him drop down the order, but Stein nonetheless needs to get his way through. Otherwise, Vengeance is going to come at him. Here comes Stein. Tiny Darkspike looks to the inside, tries to defend. Stein looks for the inside, but pulls to the outside. He's got the soft tyre grip. He blitzes past with DRS, and into the race lead he goes on lap 34. Very nicely done. And now it's just him and the track in front. How much can he pull out a gap? And he needs to pull out a gap just in case his tyres hit a cliff and Vengeance finds a second wind of pace. But I think P2 might be the best that Vengeance can hope for, as we've got 3 laps of this race remaining. Stein just looks in absolute control, doesn't he? Just didn't have the greatest first stint, but from the safety car, did what he needed to. Took those tyres as long as he needed to, and those soft tyres on a light chassis. He's absolutely flying. Vengeance now trying to get through on Tiny Darkspike. The penalty will mean that he does finish ahead regardless of what happens, or unless Vengeance gets a penalty. It is 3 seconds for Tiny Darkspike, so he might be able to bait Vengeance into a penalty, but nonetheless, here comes the Ferrari, pulls to the inside. The Renault on the outside doesn't want to fight this one too hard, and the Ferrari up into P2. 1.2 seconds back on Stein. It's still doable, but he needs to get pushing now. The penultimate lap. He's got 2 laps of this race remaining. If he wants any chance of winning, he needs to go now. Exotic gets past Stuart Little, whose car is in fact ghosted, which is very strange. Amkev with a 3-second time penalty in the Alfa Romeo. Tiny Darkspike, considering these guys have been on those tyres for the majority of the race, I believe they pit in at the end of the safety car and have been on those tyres since. 28 laps, that's the majority of the race. They should be relatively dead, but they're keeping some pretty good pace, it must be said. Keeping with him. As AA Gaming gets through into P7 on Stuart Little as well. So lagging out didn't help him one bit. .4 seconds between Stein and Vengeance. We're on to the final lap of the Season 4 finale. It's Stein from Vengeance, from Tiny Darkspike. That's your podium as it stands. Who knows though? Vengeance trying to creep through. A mistake from Stein on these critical stages. He's only got a few more corners left to negotiate, and he'll win at the final race of the season and of the game as a whole. Both drivers deserve this. Both drivers have had absolutely incredible pace, but Stein is the one at the moment who's going to come out on top. Kachow, the champion in P4, wants the podium, but I don't think that's going to happen unless he can get through. Stein rounds the final proper corner of turn at number 12, and he's got a good exit. All it is a straight line from here. Stein has had an absolutely incredible race. He rounds the final corner, runs to the line, gives us a little wiggle. He is your Season 4 finale winner. The Brazilian Grand Prix goes to AlphaTauri. Vengeance in P2 with Tiny Darkspike in P3, rounding off the podium. A great drive from the Renault. Kachow in P4. Atomkev at P5. A Gaming in P6 with Exotic in P7. Mr. Wu across the line. P8 for him. P7 after penalties. And Stuart Little across the line, P9 with Jurdy a few moments later. P10 for the Williams, just waiting for No Limits, the other AlphaTauri, who will round off in P11. And across the line, here he goes. That is your final finisher for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And a very deserved podium for AlphaTauri. What a way to seal off the season. So after what was such a tense and drama-filled Brazilian Grand Prix, it is Stein that takes the win ahead of Pole Sitter Vengeance, who in a P2. Disappointing from him, but still a good drive nonetheless. Just Stein blistering pace in the second half of that race. Tiny Darspike rounds off at the top three and the podium. Kachau, Atomkev and AA Gaming, those three 4th, 5th and 6th respectively. Mr. Woot in P7, Exotic in P8. Shirtlil and Jurdy round off at the top 10 with No Limits, the final of the finisher. Domilee, Will, Rugby and Ver, those who didn't finish. Thank you everyone for sticking around through the season. I've been Zach Sweeney, I've been your commentator alongside Vert for some of it as well. Season 4 has been one to remember. Finally a new champion, Kachau, very deservedly so, and well done to everyone for making it through this season. But from myself, it's been a pleasure. It's been F1 2020, roll on 2021 and roll on season 5. It's been NRL. I've been Zach Sweeney and I'll see you later. Bye bye.